Welcome to the Shine Seeker Show, the podcast where strategy and soul come together, because the best business plan in the world can't do its job if you don't believe you're worth building it. I'm your host, Katie Beth Schultz, founder of the Sunburst Strategies Co. and your Shine strategist. Every week, we're going from scattered to strategic with real conversations, real marketing strategy, and honest moments that remind you are already worthy of the shine you're seeking. Let's get into it. I got some advice today that absolutely stopped me in my tracks, and I'm really glad it did because I was about to make a really significant, somewhat life-altering decision, and the person that I was talking to looked at me and was like, "No, don't do this." And it's not because it was a bad idea. If anyone is like me out there, especially if you're an entrepreneur, especially if you're a creative, we've got 1 billion ideas moving around at any given time. Am I right? So, um, but not all of them are fantastic ideas. So, um, some of them are good ideas, but we don't need to act on all of them, right? It really depends upon what you're trying to accomplish and your goals and what that trajectory looks like. So, um, basically, what she was telling me was you're going to make a permanent decision from a temporary season. And y'all, I needed to hear that because, especially being in the messy middle, it feels like you're so close. It's like you're on the cusp, you're on the edge of something, and you're just like, a little bit more. If I can just run to that stop sign, or if you can just, you know, type this one more thing, or if I can do this last little piece that you'll make it. And um, that's how it feels being in the messy middle. And it feels that way because it is going to happen. Um, we just don't know when. We don't know when that big breakthrough will happen. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Today, we're going to talk about patience as a strategy. And I think a lot of us that are in the messy middle are just one tough week away from making maybe not a so great decision. So for me, and for anyone else out there, when you're in a tough season, it feels like absolutely everything is never going to end. If you're a parent, you especially know what I'm talking about. I thought we were never going to get my daughter potty trained. I thought she would never eat real food and that I would be taking her to high school graduation with a diaper on and still breastfeeding. But that's not true, right? It just seems that way when you're inside of that season. It's like your body, your nervous system just doesn't know anything different. And you just want that discomfort to be over. And I think most of us will do almost whatever it takes to make that discomfort go away. But if you're feeling that discomfort, it does mean a lot of times that you're growing and you're changing, and that, like we just said, you're on the cusp of something. So you've got to hang on just a little bit longer. And I am preaching to myself right now, absolutely. And um if you start making decisions in your life or your business when you're inside a temporary season, um, you're going to shape your circumstances for the future, for your future circumstances, right? So it's really important to always keep that future, always keep that picture in front of you of, this is what I want. We're gonna get there. This is hard. I'm not going to veer so off course that I could never get back to the goal that I'm trying to reach. So, the problem with making a permanent decision from a temporary feeling is that it is really hard to undo those decisions. Okay. So, and I've done literally, I have my list here in front of me, all of these things before. And so that's why I'm telling you about them now, so that hopefully you don't have to live these things either. For example, you restructure something that just needed a little bit more time. You quit something that was about to turn a corner. You shrink your life down to fit a season that was never meant to be permanent. And side note, that's kind of where we're at right now. um, we're not in the business of a scarcity mindset. We're not in the business of shrinking. We're abundance mindset. We are growth minded people. And so sometimes when you're in that discomfort for so long, it feels like it's forever, never going to end. You'll do almost anything to get out of it. But we've just got to keep our eyes on the prize. So, one thing I don't want y'all to hear me say is that patience isn't just sitting on the couch waiting for something to happen. Um, it's continuing to do the work, continuing to build, continuing to follow up and show up while trusting the process and trusting that this time investment or this work investment that you're making right now is compounding. It's compounding interest and that it is going to pay off. So that's what we mean when we say patience can be used as a strategy, because if you're making investments, we don't want to willy-nilly make an investment here. We want to be strategic about our investments so that we can have the greatest and the quickest payoff. And so in order to do that, we've got to be willing to be uncomfortable for a certain amount of time so that we can then live the life that we've always dreamed of. One analogy and illustration that I really love is the one about planting and gardening. There's so much a part of our life, and I think that it's no accident that um, scripture uses a garden in so many different illustrations. I mean, how we were created from dust and how there's a season of rest, there's a season of harvest. Like, none of that is by accident. That is all been by intentional design. So I really love any type of plant or garden analogy here. And the one that really resonates with me right now in terms of letting something breathe and grow and using patience as a strategy is that, when you plant a seed, you don't then dig it up a few days later or a week later to say, hey, excuse me down there, like, are you growing? Are you doing what you're supposed to do? You water it, you tend to it, you make sure it's getting sunlight, you don't mess with the process that's been tried and true and proven to work. You talk to it if you're a plant mom like me. Sometimes we talk to our plants. I've been told that it can help. Not sure if that's proven yet, but that's a little tip for any plant moms out there. But just like anything that's growing, like, we want to make sure that we're taking care of it, because if we dig that thing up, if we take those little tiny baby roots that are starting to come out of the seed, what's going to happen? to that plant. It's going to die. We're going to kill it if we dig it up. And why would we want to kill something that we've been working so hard on, so hard towards, so hard to birth and cultivate? We want to make sure that we are doing our due diligence to see it through to the end and see it grow and flourish. And some plants are tougher than others, right? Okay, let's talk about how does that translate into a woman building a business? Well, that means that we're going to stay consistent even when we don't see the numbers month to month, right? And when I say that, I say we're going to stay consistent with the correct activities so that we can then see our fruit of those activities and of that labor. And if something's not working, then what's really important is for us to track those activities so then we can adjust accordingly. Like, I'm not saying stay consistent no matter what, even if you're not making money. Like, absolutely not. That's not what we're here for. We just want to be consistent with the correct activities. And so in order to know what's moving the needle forward or what's hindering us from getting there, it's really important to track those activities. And another example of having patience as a strategy and what this looks like in the day-to-day for us is that you're not blowing up your pricing or you're not taking that product or service down. Like, give things time to breathe. I'm so famous for being the most impatient person on the planet. I'm a pretty quick decision maker, which it can serve me well. It can not serve me well. And it's good to have that confidence, but I think in order to counterbalance that confidence and that quick decision-making gift that I have and that some of you have, I think that what we need is a practice in patience. And that can be so aggravating to us. If you're anything like me, like, I want it to work and I want it to work immediately and I want it to work overnight because I put blood, sweat, and tears into this thing and I want to see it just flourish immediately. But if that happens, then we're not going to learn or gain anything from that, because then how would we learn how to make a product better? How could we learn how to make a service better? How could we learn to be even more efficient if we're talking about efficiency? How could we learn to serve at a higher level if we don't even give ourselves time to breathe, or the service to breathe, or the product to breathe in order to get there? So it's a really fine line, I think, between allowing something to breathe and then cutting something off that's dead. We don't, again, with the gardening and the planting, like, we don't want to keep allowing these nutrients to go to this limb that is just dying, and that's taking the nutrients from the center of the plant to this dying thing. Like, we want to cut that off so that the nutrients can go to what's really moving the needle forward to the trajectory that we want and towards the goal that we set for ourselves. So I think for this episode and for this conversation is really geared towards people that may be more like me, where you're like, it's either alive or it's dead. It's either up or it's down. It's great or it's terrible. Like, that all or nothing mentality. Let me tell you this, that I think when you ask for patience, or you're trying to learn patience, then the Lord will give it to you. And how will he give it to you? Well, it's going to look a little bit different than for everyone, but he's going to give you something you have to be patient around. So, he's not going to just wave a magic wand and say, "Da-da-da," like, you have patience now. Like, us as humans, we're going to have to go through something where we then gain that, and we have to be consciously aware of what's happening, and we have to also then lean into prayer, which is another thing that this mentor told me this morning. And she was like, it sounds like y'all really need to pray about this. And I was like, yeah, you're 100% right. I'm not stopped to really think about that, because I'm just like, oh my gosh, I've got to hurry up and make these decisions, and there's not enough time. There's not enough time to breathe. Listen, y'all, if there is one thing that we should always make time for, it should be prayer. That should be the first thing, right? That should be the first thing, is to stop and think and pray about what's happening. Because the Lord wants us to have clarity. The Lord doesn't want us to be in turmoil or confusion. He's not a God of chaos. He's a God of order. And so I think it's really important to stop and take a beat and say, okay, if I'm looking for patience here, this is what that looks like. In this conversation, I think it's really important to remember that there's people out there that have been where you are, that have experienced what you have experienced, even if it's not down to the nitty gritty specifics of what you're going through in your business or in your life. We are not so unique in the human race that like no one's experienced something similar to what you have. And so for me today, I got the beautiful opportunity to go and talk to someone that I know has been in business a much longer time than me and has experienced these different things. And we're both really high achieving, like wanting everything to be the best and win and all of that. And so I just shared with her what was going on inside of me, and she was able to remind me that there's a bigger picture here, and that I don't want to lose sight of that bigger picture. And so if you can, I think you go and you find someone that you can trust, and you don't even have to tell them every single detail. Like, I didn't sit there and spit out A to Z with her, and also side note, if you are, I think it's safe to say I'm still a sweet little baby in terms of my experience in business. I mean, I've been in business over a decade, but I think that, when you are then seeking out mentorship from someone, it is incredibly important that you respect their time and expertise with the utmost care, and that you don't take over their time. Don't, hey, can you have a quick chat right now? Or, hey, can I pick your brain? We were in an environment where I could say, hey, do you have a few minutes to chat? And then before I dove in, I already decided in my spirit, my brain, and my heart, like, I'm not going to go deep. I'm going to do this on a very high level. She's going to ask, I know her, like, she's going to ask me questions if she needs to know anything deeper than what I'm telling her. But I'm going to give her the highlights so that I can then get the advice I need. And I really want you to go into this kind of mentorship, mentee relationship thinking that, because if you are seeking out someone like I did, like if they're anywhere on the same type of level, this person is busy, this person's time is precious, this person's could probably be making 100, 1,000, 500, I don't know. It could be making a significant amount of money in the duration of time that you're taking from them and that they're giving to you. Like, I want you to think about this time as a gift, because it is such a gift for someone like that to be able to stop what they're doing, not take any calls, not walk into another meeting, not do something else, and they're giving you their full attention, man. That is, y'all, that is like invaluable. And be willing to not just always take from that person. You know, it's interesting being in this mentor-mentee kind of relationship, and I am not like the number one expert on that. I'm not at all. Um, but you just really want to dig deep and find that respect for someone that has done great things or that has made big mistakes and come out on the other side. And you just don't want to always take from them. You want to be able to give them something, anything in return. Now, don't hear me say, "Oh, I need to like pay you money or something." No, and I need to give you something for free. Maybe, I don't know. I think you just really have to be aware of what the relationship entails. Is it this one-time conversation thing? That's okay. Is it an ongoing kind of give and take relationship? Maybe. Is there anything that you have of value in terms of your knowledge or your um, expertise that you could provide them or their team when the time comes? Because here's the other thing too. I don't want y'all to hear me say, um, and then offer them something immediately. That's not why they're helping you. They're helping you out of the goodness of their heart, and people like that, leaders like that, um they care. They really care. And so they're not in it to get something in return. They, if anything, they're doing it because they want to see you either surpass them, surpass the pain that they felt and discomfort, or they want to see you win. So just remember all of those things when you are seeking counsel and advice from someone in your niche or industry. So when you're in the middle of this place, this messy middle place, you need some outside perspectives that know you enough or know what you're working on enough so that they can see something that you can't. Again, this is something that came up in a meeting today, but I think it's really important to surround yourself in community of people that are standing on higher ground than you, because then they can look at you and say, hey, like you're in a place right now, like you're looking through a lens of impatience, of um scarcity, of discomfort. And I'm here to tell you that I've looked through that lens before, and I can tell you that once those glasses, those foggy glasses came off, I was able to see through the other side, and like it's gonna be okay. And so That's one really great thing about the free community and the Summer Strategies Co. is that it's a community filled with women, entrepreneurs, business owners, and creatives that are going through the same things like what I just described. You can find your mentor there. You can find your mentee there if you're someone that is looking for someone to pour into. It's a really beautiful place that can be this place of give and take and a place where you can feel seen and heard, which I think is really hard because I think building a business or like creating something can feel really lonely sometimes and it can light us up. And then at the end of the day, we're kind of looking around like, does anybody care? And not that we do it for these outside accolades by any means. Um, but it is just nice to find that camaraderie and community in someone that gets the kind of life you're living and that you're working towards. So I'll definitely put a link in the show notes to the Summer Strategies Co-free community as well. So that person that is that hope for you, that guiding light for you, the one that tells you it's all gonna be okay. Please don't hear toxic positivity coming from them because that's not what this is about. This is about seeing, hey, what is your life gonna look like in a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years if you just stay the course, if you don't make a decision out of being scared? What would that look like for you? Um, I think that vision changes what you do today, and it tells you and informs you what you're willing to be patient for. Are you willing to tough it out so that you can get to where you're going and so that you can reach the thing you're building towards? And something else I want to say too is that, and something I'm learning is that the journey is never like complete. Like there's always more, right? But it's about knowing what success looks like for you. It's about knowing what the top of the mountain, like when you have been at the trailhead and you make that trek up and you hike all the way to the top and it's like, "Ah, I made that sucked. I may not want to do that again, or maybe I do want to do it again, but I would do this differently to get here, or whatever that looks like." But man, the view from up here is so beautiful. Thank God I pushed through that loose rock where I almost twisted my ankle. Thank God I just kept going. And even though I ran out of water because there's a water filling station here at the top, whatever that may be, deciding to get to that future that you painted for yourself is the difference between that beautiful view at the top of the mountain and then just turning around in the middle where it was hard and going back down to the trailhead and being like, well, that sucked. So, what is the shine that you're seeking? Is the decision that you make today pointing you towards your shine? Or is it just going to make that discomfort stop? Because the decision that you make today, only one of those choices is going to point you towards and get you to the thing that is worth building and worth having and worth seeing and worth sharing. So if you're in a hard season right now and you feel like you're just white knuckling it, trying to make it through, like I see you, okay? I am you. I am right there with you down in the trenches. I am trying to make it to that next beautiful level that I have painted out for myself, that my husband and I have laid out for our family and for our future. And it's hard. It's not easy. One thing my dad has always told me is, well, baby, if it was easy, then everybody'd be doing it. And that's the thing about living a life that doesn't look like anyone else's, or living a life that you're creating on your own terms and being different, is that it's gonna be hard. And y'all, this is the messy middle, and not enough people talk about it. But the women who come out on the other side, the ones that have lived through the messy middle and they live to talk about it, and they're out there pouring into you, mentoring to you, they are the ones that decided the messy middle isn't somewhere they were going to stay, and that there is a hope and there is a future and there are plans and you can get there. They trusted that the season would change because seasons always do. And one thing this does remind me of is our free Shine Strategy Reset. It's a 15-minute diagnostic that can point out to you whether you're dealing with a strategy problem, like, hey, we really do need to cut off this limb that our plant is sending nutrients to, but it is just not, it's not fruitful, it's not worth it. Or if it's a patience problem like I have been having, to say, hey, this is, but if you want to go big things take time. Big things require a bigger foundation. Big things require more work. So if you're trying to figure out, oh, am I dealing with a strategy problem? That's something I need to change. Or I wonder if I do just need to be patient. If you go check out the Shine Strategy Reset and just fill it out and be honest with yourself, it's going to tell you exactly what's going on in your business or your life and what steps that you should take next. Comment reset below and I will send it directly to you so that you can start feeling that freedom of knowing what next steps to take. So I'll leave you with this. And I'm preaching to myself right now too. Don't make a permanent decision from a temporary season. That shine that you're seeking, it's there. It's there, it's within you, and we're going to get there. We're going to get there together. You haven't lost it. You're just in the messy middle right now, and you're just working your way to the top of that mountain through the tree line where everything is clear and everything is beautiful, and your shine is shining so, so bright. So keep going, and I'll talk to you next time. Shine on.